Hello and welcome to Ginger Prime Gaming. My name is Brian, and in this guide we're going to dive into the core aspects of the Trials of Mana Remake. This is going to take us from character selection, combat, and what you need to know when getting started. This is a truly amazing game, and if you're looking for more of my personal thoughts, I'll include a link in the description, but let's go ahead and dive into what we have to do when getting you started with this game. And the first major question the game asks the player is which of the 6 characters that they want to select to build out their team of 3. It's really important to note that the remake, there's a post-game chapter that adds an additional class to the game and New Game Plus. So there's a lot of game here. But let's go ahead and dive into the characters, the stats for the game itself. It's important to note that this guide does feature some of my own opinions. And as always, I encourage you to play however you want. So because something might not be quote-unquote optimal, doesn't mean that you might not enjoy it. So just please use the information here, toss out really what doesn't apply to you, and take what does. So let's start with the different stats just to get a base understanding of that before we dive into the characters. Strength, this is going to increase your physical damage dealt, non-magical attacks here. Your stamina seems to be a combination of agility and vitality from the original game, thus allowing you to survive longer and perform more feats. Your intellect, this is going to increase your damage dealt by magic and reduce your damage taken. It's also going to increase the chance that magic might miss you. Spirit, this is going to basically be your non-offensive magic, your healing and support magic. And then luck is going to increase the probability of a critical hit. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about each of the 6 characters. You have Duran the Fighter, Reese the Amazon, Hawkeye the Thief, Charlotte the Cleric, Kevin the Grappler, and Angela the Magician. Each of these characters have varying paths for upgrades in terms of the class system, both a light path and a dark path with additional advanced options. Those advanced options are going to come later in the game, so the first upgrade option is going to be what you end up spending the majority of your time with. But let's go ahead and deep dive into the characters themselves. Duran is a crowd favorite, basically breaking down strength rated as a B, stamina an A, intellect an E, spirit a D, and luck a C. Duran starts off as a fighter, but based off your path, you're going to have the chance to change to a knight or a gladiator. The knight is the light path, and from there you can evolve in either to a paladin or a lord. Or you can go gladiator, which is your dark path, which will go into a swordmaster or a duelist. So what makes these classes unique? Overall, a knight gets a shield which increases his physical and magical defenses, plus a single target heal. Now your paladin will get access to a skill called Saint Saber, which has some use here and there. The Lord class gets an ability to multi-target heal, and also gets a skill that cures status effects for the party. On the dark side, Gladiator gets access to elemental sword spells on a single target, which if you pair that with an element that the enemy is weak to, you can really boost your damage. From here, you can also choose to evolve a Swordmaster, which is a crowd favorite because it gains the ability to cast elemental sword magic on the whole party and can save you a lot of casts. They also get access to Moon and Leaf Saber, which gives Duran an ability to have mana and life steal. The Duelist is slightly stronger than Swordmaster, but it's stuck with single target saber skills. If you're in a group of just like maybe 2 physical attackers, it really won't take long to single target these spells on your party, so it isn't necessarily a bad option. It's a little bit stronger than Swordmaster, so just kind of play around with what makes the most sense. Now overall, if you don't have a healer in your party, Lord's going to be a good choice to help balance that out. Otherwise, Swordmaster is really kind of the general preferred option for Duran. Now Reese comes in with the strength of C, stamina C, intellect of D, spirit of C, and luck of B. She starts off as an Amazon with a spear with a decent attack, but overall her range for her power attack feels a bit short for a character with a spear. But beyond her class evolutions, they're actually really special. Her light path will evolve her into a Valkyrie, which gets access to stat up spells for each stat. If you want to take her another way, you can buy items that actually boost your stats too, so just keep that in mind. From here, she can change class into a Vandalist, which is the light path, which gives her access to her strongest physical attack, but not very utility friendly. She does get a summon that will shrink enemies and make them worth 0 XP, so it's not necessarily something you want to cast all that often. Her other option, her Star Lancer, which is her light dark path, will give her the abilities to multi-target stat up spells, allowing you to fully buff your party in just 4 casts, over 12 if it was single target. Her summon for Star Lancer is also one of the best summons that she can get, as it deals a lot of damage and inflicts a silent status effect which prevents certain enemies from using very deadly skills. Her Dark Path will give you access to the Rune Maiden, which will give you stat downs for enemies, which is similar to Hawkeye's ninja class. From here, you can evolve her into a Dragon Master, the Dark Light Path, and the Dragon Master gets one summon over the Rune Maiden, which can do some damage and poison enemies if you're not using Hawkeye. Using Dragon Master to lower a boss's statuses, and when using items to boost your own, is actually a really good option. Her other path, the Dark Path, is Fenrir Knight. This can multi-target stat downs, and it's slightly stronger than Dragon Master, and their summon deals a little bit more damage than Dragon Master 2. Overall, generally, the Star Lancer is going to be one of her best ways to play because of the multi-target buffs, but again, you have a lot of options to play around with. If you don't have Hawkeye, you can go her Dark Path to kind of offset with those stat downs and use items to make up for the stat ups, but it's really going to be up to you if you want to pick Reese. So now for Hawkeye, he's got a rating of Strength C, Stamina D, Intellect C, Spirit D, and Luck A. Hawkeye starts off as a thief, and from here he can change into a ranger, which is his light path. Ranger gets a few weak spells here and there, a few status effect spells, but from here he can change into a wanderer, which is his light path, which gains access to a wide variety of spells, and some of them are actually useful. Or you can select Rogue, which is his light dark path, which will double down on Hawkeye's as a spellcaster, and he gains only damaging spells of the Dryad element type. On the stronger side, Hawkeye is his dark path, which is going to grant access to Ninja, and since you'll spend most of your time with this class before unlocking the advanced classes, you'll generally find more fun over Ranger. Ninja is a very popular option for him as it gives him access to damaging spells that will also reduce the stats of the targets. These are great against bosses, and Ninja also provides a lot of utility too. From here you can grow into a Ninja Master, which is his Dark Light Path, or a Nightblade. Now the Ninja Master is going to learn how to multi-target the elemental shurikens that Hawkeye learns as a ninja, and this is really powerful for cleaning out rooms. You can also quickly cast Jujutsu, which can apply a defense down to all enemies. So his other path is Nightblade. This is going to give you better crowd control, and it's his most powerful attack of all of his classes. There's a lot of abilities like Black Rain and Blow Needle and Deadly Weapon, which are really some of the highest hitting things that he has in his arsenal, and it's perhaps his best damage dealing option for Hawkeye. So as it goes, if you're looking more for the light path or the dark path, overall for Hawkeye it's recommended you go with the dark path, especially for Ninja. Now whether you pick Ninja Master or Nightblade, that's going to be completely up to you for what you're looking to do. Neither really is a wrong choice in that way, namely because you spend so much time as a ninja over a ranger. Generally it's more favored that ninja is his preferred class to play. So next we have Charlotte. Her strength is rated as a D, her stamina a D, an intellect a C, a spirit an A, and her luck a C. Charlotte, beyond her character's personality and speech pattern, is the resident cleric for Trials of Mana. When it comes time to change her class, she can change into a priestess, which is her light path, which gives her access to elemental saber skills, same one as Duran, as well as a holy ball skill which can do some damage. Additionally, she gets an ability to multi-target heal. This is pretty good overall, and she provides a lot of utility in this class. Basically, compared to Duran, she gets all the same skills on his light and dark class options, and then some. Her class evolutions for light are Bishop, which gains a lot of support options but can really only single target saber skills. You also get Saint Beam, which is an upgrade to Holy Ball, Magic Shield, which increases your magic defense, which can somewhat be mirrored to Reese's stat up effects as well. Sage, on the other hand, gets the ability to multi-target the elemental saber skills as well as the Holy Ball and the Tickle Ray. This is that removing the status effect ability that Duran also gets, which can save you a lot of time, but depending on your party makeup, might not be the best option out of the bunch. Her dark path will actually start off with Enchantress. This is where she learns to multi-target heal and learn how to summon skills. On top of that, summons for Charlotte are single target and are okay when it comes to the damage, but not best overall. Her Necromancer, which is her evolution here, can teach her Black Curse, which is a stat down spell. If you don't have Hawkeye, this could actually be pretty useful, so you'll kind of play around with this. You also get 2 more summon spells, but overall it's a little bit weaker than Dark Shaman's options. Now for Dark Shaman, this is Charlotte's strongest physical class, which isn't necessarily her best, but she has access to a few strong summon skills as well as Demon Breath. Overall, kind of build her the way that you want. If you're paired up with Hawkeye, obviously you're probably going to go light, go with the Bishop option to have that multi-heal option, or Sage if you really want a multi-elemental saber skills. It really is going to be all about who you pair Charlotte up with, and personally speaking, and this is just my opinion, her character and her speech pattern is enough that she does not make my party. However, if you don't find any issue with that, she's definitely a character, a strong one, and a strong healer to take along with you. Next, we have Kevin. And oh, Kevin. Kevin's rated as a Strength A, Stamina D, Intellect E, Spirit C, and Luck B. He starts off as a Grappler, which is a very powerful class, and from here he can move into Monk, which is his light path, which gets a single target heal spell, as well as you'll also have the Pressure Point skill, which is useful from time to time. From here he can actually evolve into God Hand, which is going to open up Aura Wave and boast a couple high powerful attack power skills, as well as Warrior Monk. This is where, if you're wanting to build him out as a healer, Warrior Monk is your best option. From here he's going to get a multi-target heal at the cost of some of his power, but you're still looking at an overall stronger character with others on your team. You're also going to get Leaf Saber, which is going to allow some attacks to restore MP, so this is a good option if you're going to pair him with Angela. Now on the Dark Path, you're going to actually get access to Bashkar, which is an upgrade to Grappler, so no real spells or utility just yet. But from here you can actually grow into Death Hand, which is a super powerful, strongest physical class in the game, and it's supported with stat ups, downs, and elemental swords. Otherwise, you can go with Dervish. This is the Dark Path, which he learns Moon Saber, which has some lifesteal to it. This is a nice touch of utility, but if you really consider if you're willing to sacrifice some of the damage, why not select Death Hand? So Death Hand is definitely his most damaging, awesome class. If you're going to go with a heal, Warrior Monk by far is going to be his healer build. However, again, choose whatever you're wanting to pick with Kevin. He's a really good choice overall, especially with his forms and just the power that he brings. Lastly, we have Angela. She's rated as a Strength E, Stamina E, Intellect A, Spirit A, and Luck C. Angela is the magician who can evolve into a sorceress, which is her light path, which she learns all the level 2 elemental spells, and from here you can actually grow her into a Grand Divana. This is going to grant you the ability multi-target, all the level 2 spells, and additionally she's going to get the very powerful double spell ability. Now she could also choose Archmage, which is going to be very much like Grand Divana, but she's going to learn a spell called Rainbow, and this is going to be in replace to double spell. Rainbow is slightly stronger, but overall these choices are pretty similar to each other, so you're really not wrong in picking either of those light evolutions. Now her Dark Path is going to start off with Devlar. This is her higher magic power as a sorceress, so all your level 1 spells are going to just naturally hit harder, and this is going to end up playing out real well because it's very economical with her MP, so you're not going to necessarily burn so much more MP. So overall, people generally prefer this in terms of the lower spells because they're just going to hit harder and you're not going to just run out of MP all the time. So Devlar is usually generally considered a better option for her. From here she can go to Rune Master, where this is where she's going to learn all the level 3 elemental spells which deal a lot of damage and can inflict status effects. Or she can pick Magus. This is where she's going to learn all the level 2 spells, and it's her highest of any class. It also learns the ancient spells, which is a really good strong room clear option. It just comes at the cost of MP, and all the level 2 spells still in this case are single target, so you're going to use her more for boss fights if you go in the Magus route. When it comes to her final class for Angela in Trials of Mana, they are mostly the same. However, Rune Master can generally edge out the others, especially when it comes to damaging bosses, because those are generally favored over room clears. However, really play it the way you want. There's no wrong choices when it comes to your game and the way that you want to play. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into the combat, let's dive into the UI, let's dive into everything else when playing this game, so that way you have hopefully the best time possible. Okay, so now that we have our team assembled, let's go ahead and dive into the full basics of this game, really giving you a good look and feel for everything you have access to. Personally, I like to customize controllers, and if you want to do that from within the game without exiting the game, hit your start screen, then pull up the pause menu, and then you can go into options here. From here, you can go down to your control settings, and you can see here how I've got mine laid out. Feel free to obviously customize it to your heart's content. Namely, what I do is I switch the weak and the evade abilities, thus allowing my weak, in this case on Nintendo Switch, to be my Y, or if you're on an Xbox controller, it would be X accordingly, and my power to be X or accordingly Y. Nintendo and Xbox controllers can be a little bit confusing and a little bit annoying personally in my opinion. But beyond that, you can see my default layout, so I've got this all set up for ease and comfort. Why is that important? Well, you have varying combos that you can use with the X and the Y button accordingly, and we'll dive into that just in a second. From here, just within the overall UI, in the screen, you have your mini-map to the upper right, you have your 3 characters and their life and their different CS gauges on the bottom, and then on the left and the right, using either L1 or R1, you can see your skills shortcut or your items shortcut. Pressing up or down on the D-pad will bring up your different ring abilities. So in this case, that's move if you press down. Pressing up is going to bring up your items. Now you can actually hold the R button and you can then use either X, Y, A, or B to assign a shortcut. Let's say I want to shortcut this candy. I can say here and I can put it into the A slot. If I want to shortcut this medical herb, which essentially is going to cure my ally status effects, I can do so accordingly. Let me go and put my chocolate. And lastly, my Stardust herb. So if I'm just in battle, I can actually just hold this, press A, and it's going to go ahead and use that item, making it very easy for me to do that. Now on the controller itself, pressing either the ZR or the R2 in this case, or the L2 will allow you to easily switch between the different characters that you have in your party. So that is something that as you're fighting, just note that if you're you're not going to switch to their location, they're going to actually just teleport into your location where you're standing. So let's go ahead and stick with Hawkeye here for the remainder of this guide. So if you get lost, you can press the select button or the back button depending on what kind of controller and what you want to use. It's going to pull up the menu. It's going to tell you where you need to go with the varying star, so it's going to help guide you to your next quest objective. It's going to tell you the different type of day as well as the different time in the right hand corner, and this is just really nice and easy to be able to use. Simple, easy, and if you need to press X, you can take you out all the way to the world map so you can navigate where you've been and how much of the world has yet to be explored by you personally. Combat is as simple as just running up to the enemies and attacking them. You can see this enemy actually has a shield, and shields are better broken by varying power attacks. You can charge up your power attack to make it even more effective, and you can see these blue little crystals that are popping off the enemies. This is helping to fill your CS gauge. Once your CS gauge reaches 100, you can hold down your L and you can actually select one of the varying moves to target one of the enemies with. So in this case, I'm going to go and use this Poison Dagger, let him do his attack for massive amounts of damage. You can set everybody's different logic or rules when it comes down to their attack style under the strategy menu, under the main menu. Clicking A, it's going to bring you up your varying targets. You're going to set it for each of the characters, because if you switch targets, obviously it's going to have you jump into that, and the AI is going to take over for the character that you left. So you can see here, targeting other enemies, you can say nearby, ranged, same enemy, or weakened enemy. Personally, I recommend when setting it to weakened enemies, allows them to focus in on things that have already been hit and more, but use this to build out your best strategy. Under tactics, this is going to be whether is it balance, is it going to be on the attack, all out, protection, exclusively protect. You've got a couple different mental styles here that are going to help define your AI. And then lastly, what kind of moves, what kind of settings do you want to drive? So if you want to have them use more of their moves, not worrying about conserving MP, or their class strikes, not worrying about conserving their CS gauge, or not worrying about conserving healing items, you can do so accordingly with these different sliders. So you can see you have a couple of different points. So considering your target, your tactics, and your customization here, it gives you the most flexibility when building out your AI. So I can just switch over to my other characters, and you can see here what they are focusing in on. So protection is paramount. Now I'm going to say out on the attack, and I'm going to tell her to always be casting, and let's go ahead and use a couple of healing items. So now I have adjusted her attack strategy there. When getting started in this game, especially as it deals with combat, you have a base set of combos. Just pressing the weak and then the power attack is going to have a knockback effect, pushing the enemies out of your way. Pressing the weak button twice and then pressing your attack power button, that's going to have an AoE style effect. So if you're surrounded by enemies and you want to put out AoE damage, that's weak power. And that's going to be allowing you to do those AoE hits and more. If you want to knock them back, get them out of the way, weak and then power itself, or just straight up destroy them. If you're on the way and you see these nice little green tubs, that's going to fuel you with some HP, a nice little heal. So weak and then attack, that's going to push them and knock them all the way out of the way. You can jump and attack, and then you could follow that up with a power to be able to do a downward thrust to really bring them in and bring some power down, as well as knocking an enemy out of the air and making it easily to be able to be defeated. Dodging is also paramount when attacking, just to be able to get out of line AoEs. If you run too far, you're going to see a little timer that's going to basically be indicating that you're running away from the fight. So just keep in mind that whenever you're in attack mode, you want me to pick up treasure chests, you want to be able to pick up items that are scattered about the world. So if you just come up to the treasure chest, press your dodge button, in this case my A button, that's going to get that item. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dive into the main character building and training options. Under gears and stats, you're going to have your gear, your moves, and your costume. By default, you just have your one simple costume, but I'm sure this is going to be unlocked through varying different ways without the game. You have varying different equipable items that you can find and collect, obviously improving your overall stats, and we covered the attack, the strength, the agility at the beginning of this guide. You also get abilities, and you'll see here that multiple abilities are actually locked to your class. So just like Hawkeye will eventually evolve into a ninja or a rogue, you can kind of play around with what different things unlock for him. In this case, you also have abilities that are called combination or synergy abilities, chain abilities if you will. This is where I see HP boost. This is unlocked, and these abilities are unlocked by talking and doing varying quests without in the world itself. So obviously I can only have one person equip HP boost, and that's okay, but this is going to encourage you to do side quests and talk to varying NPCs as a way of kind of collecting out unique and interesting abilities to help build out your character. Under your moves, you've got locked abilities, your class strike abilities that we kind of showed off earlier with the L menu, and then you also have your moves that you unlock as a part of your class. So here's how you're going to manage that, and then lastly, like we said, you have your costumes. Pressing either RZ or Z2 or R2, L2 will allow you to cycle through your different characters and unlock any abilities that they have available. So in this case, if I try to equip HP boost, it says that it's currently equipped by Hawkeye, and I have to remove it from him to be able to level that up. So how do you get your abilities in the first place? That's where the training menu is going to come into play. This is going to be where you unlock all the features that you want for your character themselves. So you can see here I've got 6 training points based off my levels. Those categories are strength, stamina, intelligence, spirit, and luck. And you can see here over on the abilities move side what will be earned by putting points into that. So you have strength, sturdy, and then strength plus 5. Those are basic stats there. For stamina, you can see ward off, interception, and stamina. For intelligence, you can see retain, toxic, and intellect. And then for spirit, you can see spirit 5, victory CS boost, spirit plus 5, and luck, enigma, lucky find, and luck plus 5. As you unlock the different classes in the game, this is going to be expanded upon greatly. So if I want to learn ward off here, and if I dropped over here into spirit for that CS boost, I can go ahead and apply all of these points, and thus I've learned some new abilities, and then it's going to ask me if I want to go ahead and equip them now. So I've already got HP boost equipped. I can equip ward off, and it's going to tell me what that does down in the bottom, or I can equip victory CS boost, which I like those CS boosts, so I can kind of equip that, and thus I've now got those 2 skills available. So if I do the same thing, let's say for Reese here, I've got 6 points as well, and I just drop them all into here. Now all of a sudden she's got counter, and she's got additional strength bonuses that are applied for her as well. And because I unequipped HP boost, it is now available for Reese to take advantage of, and you can see it's a significant boost when it comes to her overall build. Lastly, under your items menu here, you can easily see your items on hand broken up into the different categories by using your L and R buttons, or you can hit the right on the D-pad, and thus you can go in to start managing your ring item menu. So if you want to reorder, you want to reorganize, or you want to move things in and out of your ring menu, you can do so via this tool. Hopefully we've covered the information that you were looking for when getting started with this game. If you guys have any additional questions or comments about this game, or anything to deal with how you play it or what kind of builds you might be looking for, sound off in the comments below. I'm looking forward to having those conversations and seeing what you specifically build, especially with what characters you decide to roll with. Earlier we dove in deep when it came to character selection, and that was actually the majority of this video. So if there's anything that I didn't quite explain or you need more details on, please let me know. Hopefully I've been able to answer your base questions when getting started with the UI, with combat, and with character selection. If there's anything you need more detail on, please sound off in the comments below. I'd love to either help you out or if we need to follow this up with additional guides. Anyway, if you were using this guide as a way of evaluating if you wanted to jump into this game and play it, you can always go download the free demo both on PlayStation, Switch, and PC. I hope you guys have a blast with Trials of Mana. Honestly, this is one of my favorite series overall, and I'm glad to see it's getting some love and getting some attention and being brought back into the mainstream. If you're new here and you found this video helpful, hopefully you hit that subscribe button, you hit that like button, and you ring that bell, and you come back for more videos, guides, and news here at Ginger Prime. And if you're returning, thank you, you wondrous traveler, you. You are truly one of the best people in the world, and I couldn't be happier that you're a part of the Soul Nation. Anyway, for Ginger Prime Gaming, my name is Brian. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.